Picture this. It's 6:47 a.m. in Brooklyn, and Jake Martinez is already checking his phone before his feet hit the floor. 17 work emails, 3 family crisis texts, and a notification that his rent is going up again. By the time he's brushing his teeth, his mind is racing through a mental checklist of problems he can't solve, people he can't control, and pressures that seem to multiply by the hour. Sound familiar? If you're living in any major American city today, you know exactly what Jake is experiencing. The constant noise, the endless demands, the feeling that life is happening to you rather than being lived by you. But what if I told you there's a way to remain calm, strong, and unshakable, no matter what life throws at you? What if the secret to inner peace and resilience was discovered over 2,000 years ago by some of the most powerful and wise individuals in human history? That's the power of Stoicism, and it's just as relevant today as it was in ancient Rome. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote in his personal journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about that for a moment. While Jake is letting his morning spiral into chaos, reacting to every notification and external pressure, Marcus Aurelius is reminding us that we have a choice. We can't control the rent increase, the demanding boss, or the family drama, but we have complete control over how we respond to these challenges. Epictetus, who went from slave to one of history's greatest teachers, understood this principle deeply. He taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This isn't just philosophical theory. This is practical wisdom that can transform your daily experience. When you realize that your peace of mind doesn't depend on external circumstances, but on your internal responses, everything changes. For centuries, Stoics like Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus mastered the art of inner peace, and their teachings are not just relevant today, they're essential. In a world that constantly tests your limits, Stoicism gives you the tools to rise above the chaos and live a life of purpose and resilience. Whether you're dealing with workplace stress, managing difficult relationships, financial pressures, or simply trying to find your path in an overwhelming world, the Stoic mindset can transform the way you approach everything. Today, we're diving deep into 11 practical Stoic strategies that will help you level up your life, step by step. These aren't abstract philosophical concepts. They're actionable tools that you can implement immediately. Each strategy builds on the last, creating a comprehensive framework for living with strength, wisdom, and unshakable inner peace. So if you've ever felt overwhelmed, stuck, or like life is spinning out of control, this is your moment to take back the wheel and steer your life in the direction you want it to go. 1. The discipline of self-regard. Make yourself a priority. Rebecca Chin has been a trauma nurse at Chicago's Northwestern Memorial Hospital for 8 years. Every shift, she pours herself into caring for others, comforting families in crisis, working double shifts when the unit is understaffed, and staying late to ensure every patient receives the attention they deserve. But somewhere along the way, Rebecca stopped taking care of herself. She skips meals during her shifts, hasn't taken a real vacation in 2 years, and can't remember the last time she did something purely for her own enjoyment. By 3 p.m. on most days, she's running on coffee and adrenaline, snapping at colleagues and feeling resentful about the very job she once loved. Sound familiar? Rebecca's story is playing out in hospitals, offices, and homes across America every single day. Here's the truth that Rebecca, and maybe you, need to hear: if you don't make yourself a priority, no one else will. This isn't selfishness, it's wisdom rooted in ancient Stoic philosophy. The great Stoics understood that self-care isn't indulgence, it's a fundamental responsibility. Epictetus taught, no one can hurt you without your permission, but how can you protect yourself if you don't first value yourself enough to establish that protection? How can you maintain your boundaries if you haven't first acknowledged that you're worth protecting? Marcus Aurelius, despite being the most powerful man in the Roman Empire with the weight of governing millions on his shoulders, took time each morning to write in his personal journal, reflecting on his values and preparing his mind for the day ahead. He understood that leadership, whether of an empire or simply of your own life, begins with self-leadership. In his meditations, he wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being." This wasn't about duty to others, it was about duty to himself and his own growth as a person of virtue and strength. The emperor also reminded himself daily, confine yourself to the present, meaning focus on what you can control right now, starting with your own thoughts, actions, and well-being. He knew that if he didn't maintain his own physical health, mental clarity, and emotional stability, he couldn't effectively serve anyone else. This principle applies whether you're running an empire or managing a household, leading a team, or simply trying to be present for your family. You've probably heard the phrase, "You can't pour from an empty cup," and it's absolutely true. If you're constantly putting yourself last, eventually you'll run out of energy, focus, and motivation. But making yourself a priority doesn't mean becoming selfish or neglecting your responsibilities. It means ensuring you're in the best shape, physically, mentally, and emotionally, to show up fully for the people and things that matter to you. Seneca expressed this beautifully when he wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." Sometimes prioritizing yourself means ending the pattern of self-neglect to begin a new chapter of intentional self-care. Let's get practical with Rebecca's transformation. She began by setting aside just 10 minutes each morning before her shift, not for checking her phone or reviewing patient charts, but for herself. This small act was revolutionary because it established a daily practice of self-regard. Sometimes she used this time for meditation, focusing on her breath and setting intentions for the day. Sometimes she journaled about her goals, her values, and what she wanted to accomplish beyond just surviving another shift. Sometimes she simply took deep breaths and reminded herself why she became a nurse in the first place. Epictetus taught that we must know thyself, and this morning practice helped Rebecca reconnect with her core identity beyond her role as a caregiver. She began to remember that she was a whole person with needs, dreams, and worth that existed independently of her ability to serve others. This wasn't selfish thinking, it was necessary thinking. When you lose sight of your own value, you begin to resent the very people you're trying to help. Self-affirmations might feel awkward at first. Trust me, Rebecca felt the same way standing in her bathroom mirror saying, "I am worthy of care and respect, and I deserve the same compassion I give my patients." But here's what the Stoics knew about the human mind. It believes what you repeatedly tell it. This isn't just positive thinking, it's cognitive restructuring based on fundamental truths about human dignity and worth. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily, reminding himself of his strengths and his ability to handle whatever challenges arose. He wrote, "You are an actor in a play, which is as the author wants it to be. If short, then short. If long, then long. If he wants you to play a poor man, play even that role skillfully, and similarly if a cripple or a public official or a private citizen." The key insight here is that regardless of your role, you must play it skillfully, and that requires taking care of the actor, which is you. When Rebecca began challenging her internal narrative, replacing "I don't have time for myself" with "I make time for what I value," and "I'm being selfish" with "I'm being responsible," her entire perspective shifted. She realized that her exhaustion and resentment weren't serving her patients, they were hindering her ability to provide quality care. Another crucial aspect of self-prioritization is boundary setting, and this is where Stoic philosophy becomes intensely practical. We all have people or situations that drain our energy, and learning to say no to what doesn't serve you is transformative. Rebecca had to learn to stop volunteering for every extra shift, to stop being the go-to person for every crisis, and to stop saying yes when her body and mind were screaming no. This wasn't about caring less, it was about caring more strategically and sustainably. Epictetus, who understood oppression and limitation better than most, taught that true freedom comes from recognizing what is up to us and what is not up to us. Your energy, your time, your mental space, your physical health, these are up to you. How others react to your boundaries, whether your workplace appreciates your sacrifice, whether people understand your need for self-care, these are not up to you. As he said, don't demand that things happen as you wish, instead wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will do well. The beautiful thing about prioritizing yourself is that it creates a positive cycle that benefits everyone around you. When Rebecca started taking better care of herself, eating regular meals, taking her scheduled breaks, using her vacation time, and maintaining boundaries around overtime, she became a better nurse. She was more patient with difficult families, more focused during critical procedures, and more resilient during challenging shifts. Her colleagues noticed the change and began asking her what she was doing differently. This is the Stoic principle of virtue in action. When you take care of yourself properly, you're not just helping yourself, you're becoming better equipped to contribute meaningfully to the world around you. Seneca wrote, "The willing, destiny guides them. The unwilling, destiny drags them." When you willingly take responsibility for your own well-being, you're aligning yourself with wisdom rather than being dragged along by circumstances and other people's expectations. So today, start asking yourself these Stoic-inspired questions. How can I make my needs a priority, and what small steps can I take to ensure I'm not running on empty? Remember, you're not a backup character in your own story. When you prioritize yourself with wisdom and intention, you create the foundation for everything else in your life to thrive. And the better you take care of yourself, the more you can authentically give back to others. It's not just a win-win, it's the beginning of a truly Stoic life. 2. The virtue of dignified presence. Enhance your appearance. Marcus Thompson stands in front of his bedroom mirror in his small Detroit apartment, adjusting a tie that's seen better days. As a high school history teacher in one of the city's most challenging districts, Marcus has been struggling with more than just budget cuts and overcrowded classrooms. Somewhere over the past few years, he's lost sight of himself. His clothes are wrinkled more often than not, his hair hasn't seen a proper cut in months, and he's developed a habit of slouching that makes him look defeated before he even enters the classroom. His students have noticed, they can sense when someone has given up on themselves, and it affects how they respond to authority and instruction. Now, before you roll your eyes and think this is all about vanity or superficial concerns, hear me out. Enhancing your appearance isn't about conforming to society's beauty standards or obsessing over every detail, it's about showing up as the best version of yourself, and that transformation starts with how you present yourself to the world. As Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, noted, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. If Marcus wants to teach his students to believe in their potential, he must first embody that belief himself. When you make an effort to enhance your appearance, you're not just dressing for others, you're also dressing for yourself. Epictetus, who rose from slavery to become a prominent Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of self-control and self-discipline in all areas of life, including personal presentation. He famously stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This principle applies perfectly here. How you react to the need for self-presentation is within your control. Marcus's first step in this journey of self-enhancement was to identify what felt authentic to him. He wasn't trying to become someone else or impress anyone in particular. He was trying to align his external presentation with the teacher and man he wanted to be. Marcus decided to start with simple, controllable changes, getting a proper haircut, ironing his shirts the night before, and most importantly, working on his posture. He realized that standing tall not only made him look more confident but also made him feel more confident. As he began to take these steps, Marcus recalled a quote from Seneca, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." For too long, he had imagined that caring about his appearance was frivolous or unimportant. But as he took action, he realized that presenting himself well was a form of self-respect. It was an acknowledgement that he deserved to show up as his best self, not just for his students, but for himself. Let's delve deeper into the connection between appearance and self-worth. When you feel good about how you look, it boosts your confidence. This isn't merely about aesthetics, it's about the psychology behind self-presentation. Research shows that when people dress well, they report feeling more capable and effective. Marcus found that when he dressed in clothes that fit well and were clean, he carried himself differently. He walked into the classroom with a sense of pride, and his students responded positively to this energy. Marcus Aurelius taught that we should strive for excellence in all areas of life, not for external validation, but because excellence is its own reward. Taking care of your appearance is a form of excellence. It's the discipline of presenting yourself with dignity and self-respect. He wrote, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind." By choosing to think positively about his appearance, Marcus was actively shaping a better quality of his mind and, consequently, his teaching. Moreover, this transformation is not just about clothing or grooming. It's about the message you send to yourself and others. When Marcus looked in the mirror and saw someone who had made an effort, it sent a powerful message. I respect myself enough to present my best self to the world. This self-respect is infectious. It encourages you to act in ways that align with your values and aspirations. To embody this principle fully, it's essential to practice consistency. Marcus began setting a routine that included picking out his outfit the night before, making sure it was clean and pressed, and setting aside time for personal grooming. He even started incorporating small elements of his personality into his style, whether it was a colorful tie or a unique pair of socks. This not only made getting ready more enjoyable, but also reinforced his identity as a creative and passionate educator. In the context of Stoicism, your appearance reflects your character and virtues. Seneca wrote, "A good character, when it is clearly seen, makes the greatest impression." When Marcus dressed well and maintained good posture, he wasn't just improving his appearance, he was embodying the virtues of diligence, respect, and integrity. His students began to see him as a role model, not just for academic achievement, but for how to approach life with confidence and dignity. However, it's important to note that this journey is not without its challenges. Marcus faced moments of self-doubt, especially when he encountered students who seemed disinterested or resistant. But he remembered another Stoic principle: the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. He learned to use these challenges as opportunities for growth, both in himself and in his teaching methods. By presenting himself with confidence, he found that he could engage even the most apathetic students. Moreover, the Stoics believed in the power of community and the importance of mutual respect. When Marcus took care of his appearance, he was modeling behavior for his students. They began to see the importance of self-respect and the impact it has on their lives. This created a ripple effect, fostering an environment where students began to care more about their own presentation and, by extension, their performance in school. As Marcus continued this journey of enhancing his appearance, he also focused on his internal dialogue. He practiced self-affirmations each morning, reminding himself that he was a capable teacher deserving of respect. These affirmations aligned with the Stoic practice of reflecting on one's values and goals. He would say to himself, "I am a dedicated teacher, and I deserve to present myself with dignity." In conclusion, enhancing your appearance is not a trivial matter. It is deeply intertwined with your sense of self-worth, your effectiveness in life, and your ability to impact those around you positively. By adopting a Stoic approach to self-presentation, you cultivate a life of dignity, respect, and excellence. Marcus Thompson's journey illustrates that this transformation is not only possible but essential. Every effort you make to present yourself well is a step toward embodying your values and becoming the best version of yourself. 3. The philosophy of joyful resilience. Smile more. Lisa Johnson operates a bustling retail store in downtown Phoenix. Every day, she faces a myriad of challenges, from managing inventory to dealing with difficult customers. As a manager, she often feels the weight of her responsibilities bearing down on her shoulders. Some days, she walks into the store with a heavy heart, overwhelmed by the chaos of her responsibilities. However, she has recently discovered a simple yet powerful tool that has transformed her day-to-day interactions: the act of smiling. You might be thinking, how can something as simple as a smile make a difference? Well, the truth is, smiling is not just a social nicety, it has profound implications for your mental health and resilience. Research shows that smiling can trigger the release of feel-good chemicals in the brain, such as dopamine and serotonin. These neurotransmitters are crucial for regulating mood and promoting feelings of happiness. The Stoics understood the importance of controlling one's emotions and responses, and smiling is one of the simplest ways to exert that control. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. By choosing to smile even when faced with challenges, Lisa is exercising her power to influence her own mindset. It's not about pretending that everything is perfect, it's about choosing to respond with positivity even in adversity. Lisa started implementing this philosophy by making a conscious effort to smile at the beginning of each day. She would stand in front of her bathroom mirror each morning and practice smiling at herself. It felt awkward at first, but over time it began to feel more natural. She reminded herself of the Stoic idea that the impediment to action advances action. By smiling, she was not only lightening her own burdens but also preparing herself to face the day with resilience and grace. One day, during a particularly hectic shift, Lisa encountered a disgruntled customer who was upset over a return policy. As the customer raised their voice, Lisa took a deep breath, smiled, and calmly responded, "I understand your frustration. Let's see what we can do to make it right." The smile acted as a bridge, diffusing tension and opening the door for a constructive dialogue. The customer's demeanor softened, and within minutes, they were discussing alternative solutions rather than escalating the conflict. This interaction exemplifies the Stoic principle of maintaining composure in the face of adversity. The ripple effect of Lisa's smiling didn't stop with her interactions. Lisa noticed that when she smiled at her employees, they often smiled back. This simple exchange created a more positive work environment. As they began to mirror her behavior, the atmosphere in the store shifted from one of stress to one of camaraderie and support. Epictetus taught that if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. By choosing to smile and maintain a positive attitude, Lisa embraced the possibility of being seen as overly cheerful or naive. However, she knew that the benefits of fostering a positive environment far outweighed any potential criticism. Additionally, Lisa began to realize that smiling was not just for the benefit of others, it was for her own mental health. During stressful moments, she would remind herself to smile, even if it felt forced at first. This practice helped her cultivate a habit of resilience. The act of smiling, even in the face of stress, became a form of self-affirmation. As Seneca advised, sometimes even to live is an act of courage. By choosing to smile, Lisa demonstrated her courage to face life's challenges head-on. Incorporating humor into her daily interactions also became a crucial element of Lisa's resilience toolkit. She started sharing lighthearted jokes with her team during morning meetings. This not only lightened the mood but also fostered a sense of community. Lisa learned that humor is a powerful coping mechanism that can alleviate stress and create bonds among people. As the Stoic philosopher Lucius Annaeus Seneca once said, "A good character, when it is clearly seen, makes the greatest impression." By maintaining a sense of humor, Lisa was not only enhancing her own resilience but also building a stronger, more cohesive team. Moreover, smiling served as a reminder for Lisa to maintain perspective. When faced with challenges, she began to ask herself, will this matter in 5 years? This Stoic practice of reframing helped her navigate daily stressors with a clearer mindset. It allowed her to focus on what truly mattered rather than getting bogged down by temporary frustrations. By smiling, she created a mental space where she could think more clearly and make better decisions. Lisa also found that smiles were contagious. One day, after a particularly challenging morning, she noticed that her store had become a hub of positive energy. Customers were smiling, employees were engaged, and even the atmosphere felt lighter. She realized that her choice to smile had an amplifying effect, creating a ripple of positivity throughout her workplace. As Marcus Aurelius advised, when you are about to be angry, remember, you are not angry at the person, but at the situation. Lisa's smile allowed her to approach each situation with a sense of calm, creating a proactive rather than reactive response. In addition to smiling, Lisa began to practice gratitude as part of her daily routine. Each evening, before going to bed, she would take a moment to reflect on the positive aspects of her day, no matter how small. This practice aligned perfectly with the Stoic principle of focusing on what is good and virtuous. By consciously acknowledging the positive moments, Lisa reinforced her capacity for resilience and gratitude. As a result, Lisa became not only a better manager but also a more fulfilled individual. She learned that her ability to smile and maintain a positive attitude was not just a superficial act but a fundamental component of her resilience. This approach allowed her to face the daily challenges of retail management with grace and strength. The Stoics teach that our reactions define our experiences. By choosing to smile, Lisa transformed her workplace and her outlook on life. In conclusion, the simple act of smiling can be a powerful tool in cultivating resilience and positivity. By embracing this practice, Lisa Johnson exemplifies how adopting a Stoic mindset can enhance one's life and the lives of those around them. Smiling is not merely a social formality, it is a conscious choice that can influence our mental state, our interactions, and our overall well-being. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, let's remember to smile, not only for ourselves but for those we encounter along the way. After all, as Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Let your thoughts be filled with positivity and watch how it transforms not just your life, but the lives of those around you. 4. The wisdom of compassionate boundaries. Be kind but keep your distance. Carlos Rivera, a marketing executive in the bustling heart of Miami, often finds himself juggling multiple projects while trying to maintain harmony within his team. He prides himself on being approachable and supportive, always ready to lend a helping hand to colleagues in need. However, lately, Carlos has been feeling drained. With the pressure of looming deadlines and the emotional toll of managing a team with diverse personalities, he's realized that his kindness is sometimes taken for granted. As a result, He's been left feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, and occasionally resentful. This is a common challenge for many modern professionals. The struggle to be kind and supportive while also maintaining personal boundaries. The ancient Stoics had much to say about the importance of boundaries, particularly in their discussions of self-control and the management of one's relationships. Epictetus taught that while we cannot control the behavior of others, we can control how we respond to their demands and expectations. He famously stated, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." For Carlos, this lesson became particularly relevant as he navigated the complexities of his work environment. He began to realize that being kind doesn't mean sacrificing his own well-being. In fact, setting boundaries is a vital part of being kind, not only to oneself but also to others. When you allow others to overstep your limits, you not only harm yourself but also create a dynamic that fosters dependency rather than empowerment. To illustrate this principle, consider a situation that Carlos faced last month. A team member, Maria, frequently asked for help with her projects, often reaching out late at night or during weekends. While Carlos was happy to assist her, he began to feel the strain of constant interruptions. One evening, after a particularly long day, he received a text from Maria asking for immediate feedback on a presentation. Instead of feeling gracious, Carlos felt a wave of frustration. He realized that by always saying yes, he was inadvertently enabling a pattern that was unsustainable for both of them. Inspired by Stoic philosophy, Carlos decided it was time to establish clear boundaries. He scheduled a one-on-one meeting with Maria to discuss her needs and the expectations around their working relationship. During the conversation, he expressed his willingness to help, but also communicated the importance of respecting each other's time. He said, "I want to support you, but I can only do that effectively if I also take care of my own workload." This approach not only set a boundary but also modeled healthy behavior, demonstrating to Maria that asking for help should come with an understanding of mutual respect. Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, emphasized the importance of wise friendship, stating that one of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood. By communicating openly with Maria, Carlos was fostering a relationship built on understanding rather than obligation. This dialogue not only relieved his stress, but also empowered Maria to become more self-sufficient. In addition to individual relationships, Carlos recognized the need for boundaries at a broader team level. During a team meeting, he introduced the idea of office hours, a designated time each week when team members could bring questions or requests for assistance. This not only established a structured approach to support, but also allowed everyone to feel heard without the pressure of constant availability. As Epictetus advised, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By taking control of his time and energy, Carlos was reclaiming his freedom to focus on his own responsibilities while still being available to help others. Moreover, Carlos learned that saying no doesn't have to be harsh or unkind. Instead, it can be framed as a positive choice. For example, when a colleague asked him to take on additional work that would interfere with his current projects, Carlos replied, "I appreciate your confidence in my abilities, but I need to focus on my current commitments to maintain the quality of my work." By framing his response in terms of quality rather than refusal, he communicated his boundaries without diminishing the other person's request. This approach aligns with the Stoic principle of maintaining equanimity in the face of external pressures. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." By choosing to prioritize his own well-being, Carlos was exerting control over his mental environment, ensuring that he could continue to be a supportive colleague without compromising his own needs. As Carlos practiced setting boundaries, he also discovered the importance of self-compassion. The Stoics believed in treating oneself with kindness and understanding, recognizing that we all have limitations. When Carlos felt guilty for saying no, he reminded himself that self-care is not selfish. It is essential. He recalled Seneca's words, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." By focusing on what he needed to maintain his well-being, Carlos was enriching his capacity to be there for others. Another significant aspect of setting boundaries is recognizing toxic relationships. Carlos had a colleague, Tom, who consistently brought negativity to the workplace. While Carlos valued kindness and support, he realized that Tom's constant complaints were draining his energy and affecting his outlook. Drawing from Stoic teachings, he understood that he had control over how much time and energy he devoted to this relationship. Carlos approached this situation thoughtfully. He initiated a candid conversation with Tom, expressing his desire to support him while also setting limits on the negativity that was affecting the team's morale. He said, "I want us to work together positively, but I find it challenging when the focus is always on what's wrong. Let's try to identify solutions together." This shift in dialogue not only set a boundary but also encouraged a more constructive approach to their interactions. In the end, Carlos found that setting boundaries was not just about protecting himself. It was about creating a more positive and productive environment for everyone around him. By being kind yet firm, he fostered relationships built on mutual respect and understanding. The Stoics remind us that our greatest power lies in our ability to control our responses and set our own standards for how we engage with others. As we navigate our personal and professional lives, it's essential to remember that kindness does not equate to self-sacrifice. By setting compassionate boundaries, we honor our needs while still being there for others. Carlos Rivera's journey illustrates that when we embrace the wisdom of the Stoics, we can create healthier, more fulfilling relationships that empower both ourselves and those around us. In conclusion, the practice of establishing and maintaining boundaries is a vital part of living a balanced and fulfilling life. Through the lens of Stoic philosophy, we learn that setting limits isn't just about saying no. It's about making intentional choices that prioritize our well-being while still embodying kindness and compassion. By doing so, we cultivate an environment where everyone can thrive. 5. The art of philosophical composure. Stay calm in stressful situations. Jennifer Kim is the founder of a thriving startup in Seattle where innovation meets the fast-paced demands of the tech industry. Her days are filled with meetings, deadlines, and constant pressure to deliver results. As the head of her company, Jennifer often feels the weight of expectations not just from her investors but also from her employees. The stress can be overwhelming, and there are moments when she feels as if she's on the verge of losing control. However, over the past few months, Jennifer has been practicing a crucial Stoic principle, the art of maintaining composure in stressful situations. The Stoics believed that while we cannot control external events, we have absolute control over our responses to those events. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and philosopher, powerfully articulated this notion in his Meditations when he stated, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This idea resonated deeply with Jennifer as she navigated the unpredictable waters of entrepreneurship. One particularly hectic day, Jennifer faced a crisis when her lead developer announced that a critical software update would be delayed by 2 weeks. This delay threatened to set back their entire project timeline, and with an important presentation scheduled for investors in just a few days, the pressure was palpable. As she sat in the conference room, she could feel her pulse quickening and her mind racing with worst-case scenarios. But instead of reacting impulsively, she paused and remembered the Stoic practice of deep breathing. Returning to the wisdom of Epictetus, who taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters," Jennifer took a moment to breathe deeply, inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4, and exhaling for 4. This simple technique helped her regain a sense of calm and perspective. As she focused on her breath, she reminded herself that panicking would not change the situation. Instead, it would cloud her judgment and hinder her ability to think clearly. With her mind clearer, Jennifer addressed her team. "I understand this is a setback, but let's focus on solutions rather than problems," she said, channeling her inner Stoic. By framing the situation positively, she encouraged her team to brainstorm alternatives rather than dwell on the delay. This approach not only alleviated tension but also empowered her team to contribute to finding a solution. Together, they devised a plan to prioritize the most critical features for the presentation, ensuring they could still impress their investors while managing their time effectively. In moments of stress, it's essential to reframe the situation and ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? This Stoic practice, advocated by Marcus Aurelius, helps to put challenges into perspective. Most stressors we face in our daily lives are temporary, yet they can feel monumental in the moment. By asking this question, Jennifer was able to shift her focus from the immediate panic to a broader view of her company's long-term vision. She thought, in the grand scheme of things, this is a setback, not a catastrophe. Moreover, Jennifer recognized that staying calm under pressure also meant managing her emotional responses. As a leader, her demeanor set the tone for her team. If she panicked, her employees would likely follow suit. Epictetus emphasized that a man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. By controlling her mind and emotions, Jennifer projected confidence, which in turn reassured her team. Another essential aspect of staying calm is the practice of mindfulness. Jennifer began integrating mindfulness into her daily routine, allocating a few minutes each morning for meditation. During this time, she focused on her breath and visualized her day ahead. This practice not only prepared her mentally but also fostered resilience against stress. As the Stoics advocated, engaging in daily reflection helps cultivate a sense of inner peace and clarity. On a particularly stressful Wednesday, Jennifer faced yet another challenge, a negative review from a key client about their latest product. Instead of immediately responding with defensiveness, she took a moment to reflect on the feedback. Incorporating the Stoic practice of detachment, she reminded herself, this feedback is an opportunity for growth, not a personal attack. By choosing to see the criticism as constructive, Jennifer crafted a thoughtful response. She reached out to the client to discuss their concerns and offered to set up a meeting to address the issues directly. This response not only demonstrated her commitment to client satisfaction but also reinforced her ability to remain composed under pressure. The client appreciated her willingness to engage and collaborate on solutions. Jennifer learned that staying calm in the face of adversity is not only beneficial for her mental health but also enhances her leadership effectiveness. The Stoics believed that true strength lies in the ability to maintain composure amidst chaos. By modeling this behavior, Jennifer inspired her team to adopt a similar approach. They began to emulate her calm demeanor, creating a more resilient and supportive work environment. As her practice of composure evolved, Jennifer found that she could handle stressors with greater ease. She recalled the words of Seneca, who said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." Facing challenges without succumbing to stress required courage, and Jennifer embraced this truth. Each time she practiced breathing techniques, reframed setbacks, or engaged in mindfulness, she was strengthening her resilience. Additionally, Jennifer began to share her learnings with her team, creating a culture of calmness and support. During meetings, she encouraged open discussions about stress management techniques and invited team members to share their own strategies. This collaborative approach not only fostered a sense of community but also empowered her employees to take charge of their own responses to stress. In conclusion, the ability to stay calm in stressful situations is a vital skill that can be cultivated through Stoic practices. By embracing the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, we can learn to control our responses, manage our emotions, and navigate challenges with grace. Jennifer Kim's journey illustrates that maintaining composure is not only beneficial for our mental health but also essential for effective leadership. As we face the inevitable stressors of modern life, let us remember that our reactions define our experiences. By choosing to remain calm and composed, we set the stage for growth, resilience, and ultimately success. 6. The courage of authentic direction. Set your course. David Johnson is a musician and songwriter living in Nashville, a city known for its vibrant music scene and relentless competition. For years, he struggled to find his unique voice in an industry that often pressures artists to conform to popular trends. David found himself caught between the desire for commercial success and the need to stay true to his artistic vision. He was writing songs that he thought would sell, but every time he performed, he felt a disconnect between the music he loved and the music he was producing. Frustrated and disheartened, he began to question his path. In his search for clarity, David turned to the timeless teachings of Stoic philosophy, particularly the emphasis on self-knowledge and authenticity. Marcus Aurelius stated, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This principle resonated with David as he realized that to create music that truly reflected who he was, he needed to first understand his own values and aspirations. He embarked on a journey of self-discovery, determining what success meant to him, not what others expected. The first step on this journey was to define his core values. David spent several evenings journaling about moments in his life when he felt truly fulfilled. He recalled the first time he performed an original song at an open mic night and the rush of joy it brought him. He also reflected on the artists who inspired him, musicians who dared to be different, who pushed boundaries, and who created art that resonated with their authentic selves. Through this introspection, he identified his core values: creativity, authenticity, and connection. Armed with this newfound self-awareness, David began to set goals that aligned with his values. He realized that his definition of success was not about winning awards or selling out stadiums. It was about creating music that resonated with his soul and connected with others. As Seneca wisely noted, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." David understood that true wealth lies in staying true to oneself, not in chasing external validation. With clarity on his values and goals, David made a bold decision. He would stop writing music he thought would sell and instead focus on creating art that was genuinely meaningful to him. This was not an easy choice. He faced the fear of rejection and the uncertainty of whether his authentic voice would resonate with an audience. Yet, the Stoics taught that courage is not the absence of fear but the ability to act despite it. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." David chose to embrace his fear as a part of the creative process. One evening, as he sat in his small studio apartment, David picked up his guitar and began to write a song that reflected his true feelings about the struggles of being an artist. The lyrics poured out of him, expressing his vulnerabilities and dreams. For the first time in months, he felt a sense of freedom and authenticity. He realized that this was the music he was meant to create, songs that told his story and connected with others on a deeper level. As he began to share his new music with friends and family, the response was overwhelmingly positive. People resonated with the authenticity in his lyrics and the raw emotion in his performances. This encouraged David to continue pursuing his artistic vision without compromise. He began performing at local venues, where he found an audience that appreciated his unique sound and heartfelt messages. The more he embraced his authentic self, the more he attracted like-minded individuals who valued creativity and individuality. David also learned the importance of adaptability. While he was committed to his artistic vision, he understood that the music industry is dynamic and ever-changing. He recalled Marcus Aurelius's words, "Adapt yourself to the life you've been given. Embrace it and love the people with whom you share it." This meant being open to collaboration and experimentation while staying true to his core values. David started working with other artists who shared his vision, blending genres and styles to create something fresh and innovative. In this journey, David faced setbacks as any artist does. There were nights when the audience was small, and there were moments when critical feedback stung. However, he remembered the Stoic teaching that obstacles are not roadblocks but opportunities for growth. When faced with criticism, David would remind himself that the obstacle in the path becomes the path. This mindset allowed him to view challenges as chances to refine his craft and deepen his understanding of his artistry. Additionally, David embraced the Stoic practice of reflection. After each performance, he would take time to evaluate what worked and what didn't. Instead of dwelling on mistakes, he focused on learning and improving. He would ask himself questions like, "Did I connect with the audience?" And "What can I do differently next time?" This reflective practice helped him grow as a musician and stay aligned with his authentic direction. As his confidence grew, David felt empowered to share his journey with others. He began hosting workshops for aspiring musicians, encouraging them to explore their own values and find their unique voices. He would share his experiences, emphasizing the importance of authenticity and courage in the creative process. By helping others navigate their paths, David not only reinforced his own understanding of these principles, but also created a supportive community of artists who uplifted one another. In conclusion, setting your course in life requires introspection, courage, and commitment to authenticity. David Johnson's journey illustrates the transformative power of aligning one's life with personal values and staying true to one's artistic vision. By embracing Stoic principles, he was able to navigate the challenges of the music industry and create a fulfilling path that resonated with his true self. As we each embark on our journeys, Let us remember that our direction is shaped not by external pressures, but by our internal compass. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By cultivating thoughts rooted in authenticity and courage, we can navigate our own paths with confidence and purpose. 7. The strength of principled conviction make your stand. Angela Martinez is a software engineer at a prominent tech company in Portland, Oregon. Known for her analytical skills and innovative thinking, she has quickly gained recognition in her field. However, behind the accolades lies a struggle. Angela often finds herself grappling with the pressure to conform to the predominant culture in her workplace, a culture that sometimes conflicts with her personal values. She has witnessed colleagues compromise their principles for the sake of fitting in or advancing their careers, and this has left her feeling uneasy and conflicted. In reflecting on her situation, Angela turned to Stoic philosophy for guidance. The Stoics taught the importance of living in alignment with one's values and convictions, and this resonated deeply with her. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This idea struck a chord with Angela. She realized that while she couldn't control the culture of her workplace, she had complete control over her own beliefs and responses. Angela began her journey of self-discovery by identifying her core values. She spent time journaling about what truly mattered to her, not just in her career but in her life as a whole. Through this process, she recognized that integrity, innovation, and collaboration were fundamental to her identity. She understood that these values were non-negotiable. They formed the foundation upon which she wanted to build her career. The next step was to articulate her convictions clearly. Angela recalled a quote from Epictetus, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." She realized that to stand firmly in her beliefs, she needed to express them confidently. During a team meeting, she took the opportunity to share her thoughts on a project that was being pushed forward without adequate ethical considerations. Instead of remaining silent out of fear of rocking the boat, she spoke up, presenting her concerns about the potential impact on users and the ethical implications of the technology they were developing. Initially, Angela felt a surge of anxiety as she voiced her concerns. However, as she spoke, she remembered the Stoic principle that true strength comes from being true to oneself. She framed her feedback as a call to uphold their shared values as a team. As a company that prides itself on innovation and integrity, she said, "We must consider the ethical implications of our work. I believe we can find a solution that aligns with both our goals and our values." To her surprise, the response was overwhelmingly positive. Many of her colleagues expressed gratitude for her courage in bringing up the issue. The conversation sparked a robust discussion about the ethical responsibilities of technologists and the importance of aligning their work with their principles. Angela's willingness to speak up not only reinforced her own convictions, but also encouraged others to reflect on their values and contributions. This experience taught Angela an invaluable lesson. Standing firm in her beliefs could inspire others to do the same. As Seneca wisely noted, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." By daring to voice her principles, Angela helped pave the way for a more open and ethical dialogue within her team. However, standing up for her convictions was not without its challenges. Angela faced pushback from some colleagues who felt threatened by her assertiveness. They questioned her motives and even labeled her as difficult for challenging the status quo. In these moments, she recalled the teachings of Epictetus, who emphasized that we cannot control the opinions of others but can control our reactions. "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters," he said. Angela chose to respond with grace and resolve, understanding that her integrity was worth the scrutiny. In her quest to uphold her values, Angela also recognized the importance of choosing her battles wisely. Not every situation required her to take a stand, and she learned to discern when it was truly necessary to assert her principles. This self-awareness allowed her to conserve her energy for the issues that mattered most, reinforcing her commitment to authenticity. Additionally, Angela began mentoring younger colleagues who struggled with similar dilemmas. She shared her experiences and encouraged them to articulate their own values and convictions. During informal lunch sessions, she fostered open discussions about the challenges of navigating workplace culture while remaining true to oneself. This mentorship not only empowered her colleagues, but also deepened Angela's own understanding of her principles. As her confidence grew, Angela started envisioning her long-term career path. She realized that her commitment to ethical innovation wasn't just a personal value. It could also become the cornerstone of her professional identity. Inspired by the Stoic idea of living according to nature, she decided to pursue opportunities that aligned with her convictions. She began looking for roles in companies known for their ethical practices and commitment to social responsibility. In her pursuit of authenticity, Angela also explored ways to integrate her values into her work actively. She proposed initiatives within her company that aligned with her vision, such as developing a framework for ethical decision-making in the software development process. By taking the lead on these projects, she demonstrated that it was possible to create a culture that valued integrity alongside innovation. In conclusion, the journey of making your stand is a powerful testament to the importance of living in alignment with your values. Angela Martinez's story illustrates how embracing Stoic principles can empower individuals to navigate the complexities of professional life while remaining true to themselves. By identifying core values, articulating convictions, and standing firm in the face of adversity, we can cultivate a life of authenticity and purpose. As we each embark on our journeys, let us remember Marcus Aurelius's wisdom. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By nurturing thoughts rooted in integrity and courage, we can navigate our paths with strength and conviction, inspiring others to do the same. 8. The grace of philosophical humor. Nurture your wit. Michael Thompson is a lawyer in Boston navigating the high-stress world of corporate law. Known for his sharp intellect and meticulous attention to detail, Michael often finds himself buried under mountains of paperwork and looming deadlines. While he takes great pride in his work, he also recognizes that the pressure can sometimes feel overwhelming. In moments of intense stress, he has noticed that he often becomes overly serious, losing the lightness that helps him connect with his colleagues and clients. Recognizing the need for balance, Michael turned to the teachings of Stoic philosophy, particularly the importance of humor and wit as tools for resilience. The Stoics understood that while life can be serious and full of challenges, maintaining a sense of humor is crucial for navigating those challenges with grace. Seneca, the Roman philosopher, once remarked, "He who laughs at himself never runs out of things to laugh at." This idea resonated deeply with Michael as he began to explore the role of humor in his life and work. Michael decided to implement humor as a deliberate practice in his daily routine. He started by reflecting on the absurdities of his profession, the long hours, the complex jargon, and the often convoluted nature of legal proceedings. Instead of viewing these aspects of his job as burdens, he began to see them as opportunities for laughter. He recalled a particularly humorous incident during a deposition where a witness mistakenly referred to a contract as a contraption. Instead of reacting with irritation, Michael laughed, lightening the mood in the room and reminding everyone that, while legal matters are serious, there's always room for a chuckle. This light-hearted approach not only lifted Michael's spirits but also transformed the atmosphere in his workplace. He began sharing funny anecdotes and light-hearted jokes during team meetings. One day, he opened a meeting by quipping, "You know you're a lawyer when you can't finish a sentence without using the word whereas." This simple joke broke the ice, allowing his colleagues to relax and engage more freely in discussions. By fostering a culture of humor, Michael created an environment where everyone felt more comfortable sharing ideas and collaborating. As he practiced integrating humor into his work, Michael also remembered the Stoic principle of perspective. When faced with stressful situations, he began to ask himself, how important is this in the grand scheme of things? By maintaining a sense of perspective, he was able to navigate the pressures of his job with a lighter heart. Marcus Aurelius advised, "When you arise in the morning, think of the privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love, to be able to give." This perspective helped Michael appreciate the little moments, including the humor that could be found in everyday situations. Moreover, Michael discovered that humor is a powerful tool for building connections. During a particularly challenging case, he found himself working closely with a new associate, Sarah, who was feeling overwhelmed. Sensing her stress, Michael decided to lighten the mood. He shared a light-hearted story about a time he accidentally emailed the wrong client, leading to an awkward but funny exchange. As they both laughed, Sarah visibly relaxed and the tension dissipated. This moment not only strengthened their working relationship but also reminded Michael of the importance of empathy and connection. In addition to fostering connections, humor also served as a coping mechanism for Michael. Law can be a demanding profession, and the pressure to perform can lead to stress and burnout. When he faced stressful days filled with difficult clients or complex cases, Michael found that allowing himself to laugh, whether at a funny meme shared by a friend or a joke from a colleague, helped him manage his stress levels. By choosing to embrace humor, he was actively cultivating resilience in the face of adversity. One day, during a particularly grueling week, Michael found himself feeling overwhelmed by the number of cases on his plate. As he sat in his office, he remembered a quote from Seneca, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." This reflection prompted him to take a step back and assess the situation with a lighter perspective. Instead of allowing the stress to consume him, he decided to treat himself to a comedy show that weekend. The laughter he experienced not only provided a much-needed break but also recharged his mental batteries, allowing him to approach his work with renewed energy and optimism. Michael also learned that humor can be a powerful tool for diffusing tense situations. During a contentious negotiation, he found that suggesting a lighter tone could help break the ice. When discussions became heated, he would interject with a light-hearted comment or a humorous analogy. This approach often shifted the focus from conflict to collaboration, reminding everyone involved that they shared a common goal. As Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By choosing to react with humor, Michael was able to steer conversations toward more productive outcomes. Moreover, fostering a sense of humor in the workplace encourages creativity. When individuals feel free to laugh and express themselves, they are more likely to think outside the box and propose innovative solutions. Michael began to notice that his team was more engaged and creative during brainstorming sessions when he encouraged a lighthearted atmosphere. This not only improved morale but also led to more effective collaboration and problem solving. As Michael continued to embrace humor, he also considered how he could spread this philosophy beyond his immediate team. He organized a monthly Laugh and Learn session where colleagues could share funny stories, jokes, or even humorous presentations on legal topics. This initiative not only strengthened team bonds but also provided a platform for creativity and camaraderie. As Seneca aptly noted, a good character, when it is clearly seen, makes the greatest impression. By fostering an environment where humor was celebrated, Michael was enhancing the overall culture of his workplace. In conclusion, nurturing a sense of humor is a vital aspect of resilience and well-being, especially in high-pressure environments like law. Michael Thompson's journey illustrates how Stoic principles can guide us in embracing humor as a tool for connection, stress management, and creativity. By choosing to integrate laughter into our daily lives, we can navigate challenges with grace and positivity. As we face the complexities of modern life, let us remember the wisdom of the Stoics. Life may present us with serious challenges, but there is always room for laughter. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By cultivating thoughts filled with humor and joy, we can enhance our resilience and enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. 9. The virtue of universal dignity: be respectful of everyone. Patricia Nguyen works as a nurse in a busy Atlanta hospital where she encounters a diverse range of patients and colleagues each day. In her fast-paced environment, she has learned that respect is not just a nicety, it's a necessity for fostering a positive and effective workplace. However, maintaining respect, especially during stressful moments, can be difficult, particularly when faced with challenging personalities, demanding patients, and the pressures of a healthcare system that often feels chaotic. Patricia's journey to embody respect in her daily interactions began when she reflected on the teachings of Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "When you are about to be angry, remember, you are not angry at the person, but at the situation." This insight reminded Patricia that respect must be rooted in understanding and empathy, especially when emotions run high. During one particularly hectic shift, Patricia encountered Mr. Jenkins, a patient who was frustrated and impatient after a long wait. His anger was palpable, and as he raised his voice, Patricia felt the urge to react defensively. However, instead of allowing the tension to escalate, she paused and recalled the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within her control. She took a deep breath, smiled, and approached him with kindness. "I understand that waiting can be frustrating, and I appreciate your patience. Let me see what I can do to help you feel more comfortable while you wait." This simple act of respect transformed the interaction. Mr. Jenkins, initially hostile, softened upon seeing Patricia's genuine concern. He replied, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take it out on you. It's just been a long day." By responding with empathy and understanding, Patricia not only diffused the situation but also reinforced her own commitment to treating everyone with dignity, regardless of their circumstances. Epictetus taught, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Patricia embraced this principle by making a conscious effort to actively listen to her patients and colleagues. When she took the time to listen, she discovered that many frustrations stemmed from feeling unheard or dismissed. By allowing patients like Mr. Jenkins to express their concerns fully, Patricia could address their needs more effectively. Active listening transformed her interactions from transactional to relational, fostering a sense of trust and respect. Moreover, Patricia recognized that respect extends beyond individual interactions. It encompasses how we treat everyone in our environment. In her hospital, she made it a point to show kindness to everyone, from the janitorial staff to the doctors. One day, she witnessed a new nurse, Emily, struggling to keep up with the demands of her shift. Patricia approached her during a break and offered support. "Hey, I noticed you've been really busy. Is there anything I can help you with?" This small act of kindness not only boosted Emily's morale but also created an environment where collaboration and respect flourished. In the spirit of the Stoic belief that we are all part of a larger community, Patricia often reflected on how her actions impacted the collective atmosphere of her workplace. She recalled the words of Seneca, "Respect your dignity and that of others." By treating everyone with respect, she contributed to a culture of dignity that uplifted the entire team. However, Patricia also faced challenges when dealing with difficult colleagues. One of her coworkers, Tom, often displayed a negative attitude, criticizing others and creating a toxic environment. In the past, Patricia would have avoided confrontation, but with her Stoic mindset, she decided to address the issue directly. She approached Tom and said, "I appreciate your expertise, but I feel that your feedback is often more harsh than constructive. I believe we can achieve better outcomes if we focus on solutions together." This approach exemplified the Stoic principle of maintaining respect even when setting boundaries. Patricia learned that respect does not mean tolerating disrespectful behavior. It means asserting her own dignity while also addressing the behavior of others. By speaking directly and respectfully to Tom, she opened the door for a more productive dialogue. This interaction not only preserved her own sense of dignity but also encouraged Tom to reflect on his approach to teamwork. Another vital lesson Patricia learned was that respect often involves humility. She recognized that she didn't have all the answers and that everyone, regardless of their position or experience, has something valuable to contribute. In her interactions, she made it a point to express gratitude for the efforts of others. Whether it was thanking the kitchen staff for preparing meals or acknowledging the hard work of her fellow nurses during busy shifts, Patricia's practice of gratitude reinforced a culture of respect. As a result of her commitment to treating everyone with dignity, Patricia noticed a positive shift in her work environment. Colleagues began to mirror her behavior, and she observed more collaboration, communication, and support. The hospital became a place where respect was not just an expectation but a shared value that everyone embraced. As Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. By embodying respect, Patricia chose to rise above negativity and contribute to a culture of dignity and support. In conclusion, the virtue of respect is essential in fostering a positive and productive environment, especially in high-pressure fields like healthcare. Patricia Nguyen's journey illustrates how embracing Stoic principles can empower individuals to treat others with dignity and compassion, even in challenging circumstances. By practicing active listening, showing kindness to all colleagues, and addressing disrespectful behavior with humility, we can create a more respectful and cohesive community. As we navigate our personal and professional lives, let us remember the wisdom of the Stoics. Respect is a powerful tool that not only enhances our relationships but also strengthens our character. By cultivating a culture of respect, we contribute to a better world for ourselves and those around us. 10. The discipline of sacred limits. Set clear parameters. Robert Martinez is a consultant in Denver, working for a firm known for its demanding clients and high-stakes projects. With a reputation for excellence and a strong work ethic, he often finds himself taking on more than his fair share of responsibilities. Initially, Robert prided himself on his ability to juggle multiple projects and meet tight deadlines. However, over time, he began to feel the weight of burnout creeping in. He realized that in his quest to be a team player, he had neglected to set clear boundaries, which ultimately compromised his well-being and productivity. In reflecting on his situation, Robert turned to Stoic philosophy for guidance. The Stoics recognized that maintaining one's inner peace often requires the careful management of external demands. Epictetus famously stated, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This principle resonated deeply with Robert, prompting him to evaluate how he could reclaim control over his life by establishing healthy boundaries. The first step Robert took was to identify his limits. He began by assessing how much work he could realistically handle without compromising his mental and physical health. Robert made a list of his commitments, both professional and personal, and honestly evaluated where he felt stretched too thin. He discovered that he had been saying yes to additional projects, overtime, and social obligations out of a fear of disappointing others. In doing so, he had neglected his own needs and priorities. Armed with this insight, Robert decided it was time to communicate his boundaries clearly. He scheduled a meeting with his supervisor to discuss his workload. Instead of approaching the conversation defensively, he framed it positively. "I want to ensure that I can deliver the best results for our clients, and to do that, I need to manage my current commitments effectively," he explained. This approach emphasized his dedication to quality work while also setting the stage for a constructive discussion about his limits. Epictetus taught that we should focus on what is within our control, and for Robert, this meant being assertive about his capacity. By articulating his boundaries, he empowered himself to take charge of his workload. His supervisor responded positively, acknowledging the need for balance and agreeing to redistribute some of Robert's responsibilities. This conversation marked a turning point for Robert as he felt a weight lifted off his shoulders. He understood that establishing boundaries was not only necessary but also a sign of professionalism and self-respect. In addition to setting boundaries at work, Robert recognized the importance of applying the same principles to his personal life. He realized that his commitment to work had encroached on time he could spend with family and friends. Inspired by the Stoic practice of self-reflection, he began to evaluate how he spent his time outside of work. He made a conscious decision to prioritize relationships that brought him joy and fulfillment. For example, Robert had a weekly tradition of hiking with his friends in the nearby Rocky Mountains. However, he had been skipping these outings to accommodate work demands. Understanding that these moments of connection were vital for his mental health, he began to guard this time fiercely, treating it as non-negotiable. He communicated this to his colleagues, letting them know he would be unavailable for meetings or work-related tasks during these hikes. By doing so, he not only honored his need for personal connection but also set a clear parameter around his time. Seneca once wrote, "Time is our most valuable asset." By recognizing the importance of time management and prioritizing his personal life, Robert was reclaiming ownership of his most precious resource. He learned that saying no to work obligations didn't make him a bad employee, it made him a responsible one. Setting clear parameters allowed him to show up fully in both his professional and personal life. However, Robert also faced challenges when trying to maintain these boundaries. Some colleagues expressed surprise at his newfound assertiveness, and a few even attempted to push back against his limits. In these moments, he found strength in the Stoic principle of resilience. Marcus Aurelius advised, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Robert chose to view these challenges as opportunities to reinforce his boundaries rather than obstacles to his progress. When colleagues questioned his availability, Robert responded calmly and confidently. "I'm committed to delivering my best work, and to do that, I need to manage my time effectively. I appreciate your understanding." This respectful yet firm approach helped to solidify his boundaries while maintaining positive relationships with his coworkers. He understood that setting limits required ongoing effort and communication, but he was determined to uphold his newfound principles. As Robert continued to implement these changes, he noticed a remarkable transformation in his overall well-being. The stress that had once consumed him began to dissipate. He felt more energized, productive, and engaged at work. By setting boundaries, he created a healthier work-life balance that allowed him to thrive both professionally and personally. In addition, he found that his relationships improved as well. Friends and family appreciated his dedication to spending quality time together, and he felt more present and connected during those moments. This alignment between his values and actions reinforced his commitment to living a balanced life. Moreover, Robert's experience inspired him to share his journey with others. He began mentoring younger colleagues on the importance of setting boundaries and managing their time wisely. He organized workshops within his firm, focusing on self-care and boundary-setting strategies. This initiative not only empowered his colleagues but also reinforced his own understanding of these principles. As he shared his insights, he created a ripple effect, encouraging a culture of balance and respect within his workplace. In conclusion, the discipline of setting clear parameters is essential for maintaining balance and well-being in both professional and personal life. Robert Martinez's journey illustrates how Stoic principles can empower individuals to take control of their time and energy by establishing healthy boundaries. By recognizing limits, communicating assertively, and prioritizing personal relationships, we can cultivate a life of fulfillment and authenticity. As we navigate our own paths, let us remember the wisdom of the Stoics, that the key to a meaningful life lies in our ability to set boundaries that honor our values and well-being. As Seneca wisely stated, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. By focusing on what truly matters and setting limits accordingly, we can find richness and fulfillment in our lives. 11. The practice of energy purification. Cut out negative energy. Maria Gonzalez is an artist and graphic designer living in San Francisco, a city known for its creativity and innovation. While she thrives in a vibrant environment filled with inspiration, Maria has also faced her share of negativity. In the fast-paced world of design, she often encounters clients with unrealistic expectations, demanding schedules, and sometimes harsh criticism. Over time, she began to notice how this negative energy seeped into her creative process, stifling her inspiration and enthusiasm. Determined to reclaim her passion for art, Maria turned to Stoic philosophy, recognizing the importance of managing her mental and emotional energy. The Stoics understood that negative energy could drain one's spirit and hinder personal growth. As Epictetus wisely stated, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This principle resonated deeply with Maria, prompting her to evaluate the sources of negativity in her life and take proactive steps to eliminate them. To begin her journey of energy purification, Maria first conducted a thorough assessment of her surroundings. She took a close look at her relationships, both personal and professional. She realized that some of her friendships had become toxic. They were filled with constant complaining, negativity, and competition rather than support and encouragement. Recognizing that she had the power to choose who she spent her time with, she decided to distance herself from these relationships. One evening, after a particularly draining conversation with a friend who constantly criticized her work, Maria reflected on the impact of that negativity. As she recalled Epictetus's words, she realized that surrounding herself with people who brought her down was a choice she could control. She began to limit her exposure to toxic influences, understanding that this was a vital step toward reclaiming her energy and focus. Moreover, Maria recognized that negative energy could also stem from her own thought patterns. She often found herself spiraling into self-doubt after receiving feedback, particularly when it was critical. To combat this, she adopted a Stoic practice of reframing her thoughts. Instead of viewing feedback as a personal attack, she began to see it as an opportunity for growth. Every critique is a chance to improve, she reminded herself. This shift in perspective helped her detach from negative self-talk and embrace constructive criticism. In addition to addressing her relationships and thought patterns, Maria also evaluated her work environment. She noticed that her workspace had become cluttered and chaotic, filled with unfinished projects and disorganized materials. This disarray contributed to her feelings of overwhelm and stress, making it difficult for her to focus on her creative work. Inspired by the Stoic belief that our external environment can influence our internal state, she decided to declutter her space. Maria dedicated a weekend to organizing her studio. She sorted through her materials, discarded items she no longer needed, and created a streamlined workspace that inspired creativity rather than chaos. As she transformed her environment, she felt a sense of relief wash over her. The clutter that had once weighed her down was gone, replaced by a clean, organized space that reflected her artistic vision. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "A good character, when it is clearly seen, makes the greatest impression." By creating a space that showcased her values and creativity, Maria was reinforcing her commitment to a positive mindset. As she continued to purify her energy, Maria also discovered the importance of cultivating positive influences in her life. She began to seek out relationships with fellow artists and creatives who shared her passion for growth and collaboration. Joining a local artist collective allowed her to connect with like-minded individuals who inspired her and provided constructive feedback. This community became a source of encouragement, helping her to thrive in her creative pursuits. Maria also incorporated daily practices of gratitude and mindfulness into her routine. Each morning, she would take a few moments to reflect on what she was thankful for, focusing on the positive aspects of her life and work. This simple practice shifted her mindset, allowing her to approach challenges with a sense of optimism rather than dread. By cultivating an attitude of gratitude, she was actively choosing to focus on the positive energy in her life. During moments of stress or negativity, Maria turned to mindfulness techniques to ground herself. She practiced deep breathing exercises, allowing herself to center her thoughts and clear her mind. By taking a few moments to pause and breathe, she could regain her composure and approach challenges with a fresh perspective. The Stoics believed in the power of mindfulness and reflection, and Maria found that these practices helped her stay present and focused on what truly mattered. In one particular instance, Maria faced a challenging project with a demanding client who constantly changed their mind about the design direction. Instead of succumbing to frustration and negativity, she decided to approach the situation with a calm and composed mindset. Remembering Marcus Aurelius's words, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts," she reframed her perspective. "This is an opportunity for creativity," she told herself. "I can adapt and create something even better." By embracing this mindset, Maria was able to navigate the challenges with grace. She communicated openly with the client, discussing their vision and finding common ground. This collaborative approach not only resulted in a successful project but also strengthened her relationship with the client. The experience reinforced her belief that maintaining a positive attitude and purging negative energy could lead to better outcomes. As Maria continued her journey of energy purification, she realized that it was an ongoing process. It required constant self-reflection, evaluation of her surroundings, and a commitment to prioritizing her mental well-being. The Stoics taught that we have the power to shape our experiences and responses, and this realization empowered Maria to take control of her life. In conclusion, the practice of cutting out negative energy is essential for cultivating a fulfilling and productive life. Maria Gonzalez's journey illustrates how Stoic principles can guide individuals in managing their emotional and mental well-being by eliminating toxic influences and embracing positivity. By evaluating relationships, reframing thoughts, decluttering her environment, and cultivating gratitude, Maria reclaimed her energy and passion for art. As we navigate the complexities of modern life, let us remember the wisdom of the Stoics. We have the power to choose our reactions and create a life filled with positivity and purpose. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By actively purging negativity from our lives, we open the door to growth, creativity, and fulfillment. As we conclude this exploration of Stoic principles and their application in modern life, it's essential to reflect on the profound lessons we've learned from the stories of individuals like Rebecca, Marcus, Lisa, Jennifer, Angela, Carlos, Michael, Patricia, Robert, and Maria. Each of these characters faced their own unique challenges and pressures, yet they found strength and resilience by embracing the wisdom of ancient Stoic philosophy. They learned to prioritize themselves, enhance their appearances, smile through adversity, set compassionate boundaries, maintain calm under pressure, stand firm in their convictions, nurture their wit, respect everyone, establish limits, and purge negative energy from their lives. The teachings of Stoicism remind us that while we may not control external circumstances, we have complete power over our internal responses. Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By cultivating a mindset rooted in self-awareness, gratitude, and resilience, we can navigate the complexities of modern life with grace and purpose. As you move forward in your journey, consider how you can incorporate these Stoic principles into your daily life. Start with small, actionable steps that align with your values and aspirations. Whether it's dedicating time each morning for self-reflection, setting clear boundaries with colleagues, or actively seeking out positive influences, remember that each choice you make shapes your path. Reflect on the words of Epictetus, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your reactions define your experiences and ultimately dictate the quality of your life. Choose to respond with kindness, authenticity, and strength. Embrace challenges as opportunities for growth and let your values guide you in every decision. Moreover, remember the importance of community. Just as the characters in our stories supported one another, seek out relationships that uplift and empower you. Surround yourself with individuals who share your values and encourage your growth. Together, you can create a network of support that fosters resilience and positivity. As you embark on this journey of Stoic practice, we invite you to become part of the Stoic Vivu community. If you found value in these teachings and stories, we encourage you to subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you'll gain access to more insights, practical strategies, and inspiring content that can help you navigate the challenges of modern life with the wisdom of Stoicism. Like and share our videos to spread this powerful philosophy and inspire others to cultivate resilience and purpose in their lives. In closing, let the lessons of Stoicism guide you as you create your legacy. Live with intention, prioritize your well-being, and embrace the courage to make your stand. Remember, you have the power to shape your thoughts and actions, and in doing so, you have the ability to create a meaningful and fulfilling life. Thank you for joining us on this journey into Stoicism. Stay strong, stay grounded, and keep moving forward. Your Stoic legacy begins today.